the green.
Up.
At the very next day, you can see it.
Hi.
That's
Right.
To Montreal, then I can go all over the world.
The markers.
We're all done.
Take the
We're all
markers.
done.
Thank you, Emily.
I have the two.
Did Emily write it?
Yep.
She was drawing. She was writing everyone's name.
Did you write? Oops.
Go ahead.
Okay.
That's just not how to spell it.
The rest of
Have I done?
Done.
Since we're at family reunion and we're all together, I thought we'd learn about how the family all started. So we're gonna take about an hour if we can, and everyone is gonna tell their story about how they met and got married and stuff like that.
Starting with Kung Kung
Not
Papa.
everyone, sorry, the grown-ups. So we'll start with
How they got married. Well,
then we'll do the Tangs and then the Longs and the Lees and then oh yeah, thanks. All right.
You're young. Your dad's the youngest. You're doing it. Okay.
Okay.
When we finish up. No, Emily. No, not this paper. Not this paper.
Tell the story.
Not this paper. Give this to Stacy. I'm not done.
Oh, I met Gogo. I forgot so long.
Richard, do you want the carpet?
It might be a good idea.
how much you would spend.
Approximately 12 minutes each couple.
Emily, come here.
Approximately 12 minutes.
Okay, we met in Indian Ocean.
Okay,
We
you got it.
decided to go north. So we went to China. Okay? And then the war broke out. We got stuck there and was refugees for a few years. And after the war, we went back to Hong Kong. And that's it.
That's not how you met.
Yeah, the Indian Ocean. That's between Hong Kong and North Borneo.
No,
But I
you want
heard
to
a
know all
different
the juicy details. That's the point.
Juicy.
We're not juicy.
Yeah, juicy.
What?
We want the details.
She modified this.
How'd you get in the middle of the ocean?
So were you both
You
swimming?
want another version?
We want the 12-minute
So,
version.
Let's make this like Geraldo or something. Who's Geraldo now?
okay, Gong Gong was working in the university in Yunnan, in China, and then the war broke out. So he went back to Hong Kong and decided to take a holiday to go and collect some specimens. So he went to Borneo and collect a lot. Butterflies, beetles, everything. And he made them into specimens. But he got one big butterfly, he decided to keep that one alive. So he kept it alive till today.
Extra specimen.
That's nice, that's good.
You can ask questions.
Couple
No, your
Yeah, any
how
questions?
about dad's brother and your father have a business.
Oh, but you said me and Dad, you didn't say I had to talk about my father.
But how you met?
A minute and 30 seconds. You're more difficult than
Well,
that.
that's, I just told you. There.
Been too long.
His brother told him to go to your place.
No. That's what you told him. His brother suggested, you want to go on a holiday, well, that's a good place. That's why he went.
To North Borneo.
Does
Dad.
Gong Gong have anything to say?
And then he's
Yeah. Go, what do you have to say? Speechless.
I have already made my personal history. I don't know where to start, where What do you want to know?
So
How
maybe
you
you
met?
met.
That's all. How you met?
You,
Not your personal history. That's too wrong. That little part.
I didn't make any special arrangement to see and I was always interested in collecting some insects from tropical places like Borneo or other like Singapore. And I was in a graduate school. You know, I was working for my master. And but the professor, the American, was not able to make it to Hong Kong because he had to stay in Canton in those big Canton was captured by the Japanese, but this American was very, conscientious about his collection because he was in charge of a big museum, you might call entomological museum. And he just stayed in Canton, he couldn't make it to Hong Kong. And I waited and waited, well, it was very frustrating. So I thought to myself, I better go to somewhere. My brother learned that I would like to go to somewhere. So he suggested, why not North Borneo, where he had a number of friends, business friends in that place. And he suggested me to stay with the hall, the family. And he said, the girl is pretty very strong, And he didn't say much about Moraine. If you would like to go there, you can find out. Well, I think that's a good thing to do. So if I go there, I didn't have to put myself up in a motel. Instead, I could stay with a family. So I went there, and I was welcomed, very much welcome. And then I studied. That time I was working. I was still teaching. I was still doing something in University of Hong Kong because I had to get some paper published because I used their lab. I didn't pay them anything. And in return, the editor wanted me to get some paper published. So when I went back to Hong Kong, they asked me, how come when you went to North Borneo, you're by yourself, how come this time when you return, you have a girl with you? And they asked me. And I told them that, well, I was collecting butterfly, and one day I came across a beautiful one. So I used my butterfly net to get one. This is the one I used. And that Popo would like to, she make a decision before. She would like to further Chinese. She didn't study much Chinese, very little in North Borneo. Because that was Anglican Church school, and her schoolmaster was a lady, an English lady, very English, And so when we went back to Hong Kong, she went to study Chinese at one of the Christian high schools, Pui Do, Pui Do, Pui Jing. Yeah. And it was only about 6 months that the Japs, was approaching Hong Kong, and all of a sudden, Kowloon was captured. When Kowloon was captured, the Japanese force tried to shell Hong Kong day and night, And
You told me this.
huh?
It's approximately.
What?
That's okay. Keep going.
It's okay, keep going.
That's all right. It's interesting.
Your 12 minutes is up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We continue.
Oh no! Continue.
Okay,
It's
too
only
much. I'm sorry.
no, keep going, keep going. It's only been 6
嗰啲
minutes.
要聽你講啊，爸爸，嗰個要聽你講。
You can take the whole hour if you want.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the children are more interested.
Yeah. Well, it took you 6 minutes.
My experience, the thing I will never forget, you know, food was very much, food is not much, it's not, you know, there's very little available in Hong Kong after the Japanese capture Kowloon, and you could hardly find anything. And I didn't have much to eat, and every morning when I got up, I hit my hair, see if I could maintain how many days, you know, that sort of thing. So hungry, you know, nothing to eat. We stay overnight with a friend who taught at DPS, you know, not DGS, DPS.
When was this?
Yeah,
After the war broke out?
because we moved. Yeah, we moved from place to place, and I was trying to move back to my brother's place. I couldn't find any bus or taxi. I didn't have much money because it's a long story. I have cut so many. Yeah.
When did you get married?
Huh?
Where did you get married?
In my village.
哦，你翻咗結咗婚先至讀書啊？
In China. My hometown is about 40 miles north of Hong Kong. So we walked 3 days. We left Hong Kong on Christmas Day. We walked 3 days back to my hometown. And there I became a school principal, and I had to live a little bit away from my parents. So Popo and I lived in a little village, in a big village. That village was rich because so many people went to Jamaica, you know. So Jamaica is a place for me to study some of the family trees too, you know. But I never went to Jamaica. But anyway, I stayed there for how long? 1 year.
Where?
In the village. It's a, yeah. And I had the school was junior high school, and I stayed there for 1 year. And the Japanese was approaching that part of China. They want to get rid of the what they call guerrilla. Well, there was scattered forces. Those people were Japanese hate so much. And my school was on the highway, not on highway. It's a roadway. It's motorable roadway. In those days, the road was not paved, you know, but still it's passable. And the school is just by that road. And when if the Japanese come, they could, you know, I thought to myself, it's better to move to free China. By free means not occupied by the Japanese. Any part of China that is not occupied by the Japanese we call free China. So I went to northern part of Guangdong, north of Canton. And there I accepted a job, a lecture in job with Ningnan University. And after 1 year, I moved to another town, another called Lingyuan. Is the capital, is the wartime capital of Guangdong province. And there I became an entomologist working for the government of Guangdong. And 2 years later, I had a chance to be selected to United States for advanced studies. So I joined the examination. I joined the contest. You know, they have to select people through some kind of examination. And I was lucky to be one of the 5. The government planned to send 5 people to the United States for advanced studies. And I was so lucky I was one of them. but it was a dream because when I got to the airport, it was taken by the Japanese, and I had to flee, from that part to another part of China, another part of free China. So it was a dream. I didn't make it to the United States. And then what? And then the atomic bomb was dropped. That was 1954.
45.
45.
45, I'm sorry, yeah.
That was when you're
So
right?
we went back to Canton then. And our boy has never been to Canton, in part of China. It's the capital of Guangdong province.
That's when you were born on Earth.
And there I joined, I had a very good job with the United Nations as an entomologist because after the war, China needed a lot of things, pesticide, equipment, and that sort of thing. And I had to travel a bit and then report about my trip, the trip from China. Then we stayed 2 years, not quite 2 years, because it is an interim organization. It won't last long. So we went back to Hong Kong again. No, before I went back to Hong Kong, I applied to ICI, Imperial Chemical Industry, and they invited me to visit them, to visit their head office in Hong Kong at the expense of the company. So I took first class train to Hong Kong, and then I accepted the job. And that is the time when I could start to save money. So when I left Hong Kong, I didn't owe anybody anything. And it was a very good job. I got 1 extra month's payment. And I was the only entomologist, qualified entomologist in Hong Kong. Millions of people, I was the only one. So I was not worried about that. All my life, I was so blessed that I never worried about getting a job. I always, when I was working, some people will approach me and offer me a job. Sometimes it may be very difficult, whether stay or move. So, I worked for ICI for about 9 years. And 1 year I left because there was a high school in Kowloon, in Hong Kong, in Kowloon side, that wanted me to be the school principal because the old school principal was corrupt, He had trouble with, he made some, sort of corrupt, he didn't report the truth, and they had a difficult financial problem. And they wanted somebody who is really honest because I had a good reputation, I think, in my village, in my hometown. And they invested some of the people, some other applicants, and they wanted me to. So I left ICI, but ICI, after I left ICI couldn't find an entomologist. They tried Taiwan, and they wanted somebody, an entomologist who could render Chinese into Chinese, English into Chinese, to translate, because we had a lot of literature from England. And that this ICI is a big company. The time when I joined the company, they have a staff of 223,000 people on staff. They have offices in Singapore, in Australia, New Zealand, all over the world. In Canada, they own at the beginning, they own Canadian Industry Limited, CIL. ICI only. So I was so lucky to be entomology with ICI. But then we joined the church in 1958, and then came over here in 1963. And I couldn't find a job. I was in Calgary, and I remember one time I had wet eyes. I regret why I come here, because all my life I never suffered with a job. So I was so desperate, you know, I had to do something to find something. I joined the Canadian Entomological Society. I met so many entomologists and talk, and we found there was a job, a vacancy with the government of Alberta. But that job has been empty for a long time because they couldn't afford it, because they couldn't make a budget for such, you know, such a position to be filled, a vacancy to be filled. So I wrote to McGill University in Montreal. I didn't know anybody. I addressed my letter to the school principal, and my letter was passed on onto a right desk. That's the desk of Department of Entomology head, the head of the department. And he passed my letter on, and one of the professor, I like this man, you know. So he offered me a job, so I got a job. I was lucky to get a job, but it's not my ideal job, because I thought to myself, I was 50 at that time. I thought to myself, the plateau, I have reached the plateau of my career before I left, you know, maybe the best days not in Canada. But still, I like to hope to get a job. And the job was not very well paid, and my first job was to test new insecticides. And so I reared house flies by the thousands. Nothing, just a department, entomology department office, you know, to look after, mainly after the graduate students, because we sometimes have 20, sometimes 30 graduate students, those who work for a master or a PhD. And it was not very ideal, but yet I could still, you know, carry on. And when I went to Montreal, all those years, I was a homeowner. I was a home renter. I never been a homeowner. After retirement, I bought my home. In fact, I own 100% of my own. I don't have any mortgage. So the way you see Popo was so nice, so good in the way the saving, you know. Sometimes I thought to myself, it's not much how much you earn, it's how much you could save. Is that true? Yeah, sometimes, you know, a lot of people earn a lot in the United States, but pay a lot more tax. But anyway, this is the end of my career. I worked for McGill 14 years. I had house flies by the thousand, 14 years. And I remember I did one thing good, and that is elementary school in the neighborhood came to me and with his mother. He was 10 or 12, from 10 to 12 years old. Actually, his mother asked me if I would be good enough as to help her son to carry a science project. I said, how would you like my flies? Because I have thousands of flies. And it was good, you know, a good idea, you know, to them. It's so strange. You know. How could my son, he doesn't know anything about house flies. I said, I'll show him with my microscope. And she was so happy that her son could have a chance to study something under me. I helped him. She got first prize. And it was Christmas time. And she came with her son with a check to me. Christmas, Merry Christmas, $10. I called my department head on the phone. I asked him, is it okay if I accept this? Just not my money. I don't want to accept such a thing, you know. He said, oh, sure, you go ahead, you accept it. You just thank her. That's your money. I thought it's a department, you know. If department money, I should handle it to. And he was so happy that I asked him if I could accept the check and give it to the department. He said, no, it's yours. You just accept it, just thank him, that's all. And so one thing I always remember, the boy, when he went to the district contest in the district, he also got first prize. He's so grateful to me. And that's me. Yeah.
Gotta hear this.
Take two.
What did you say? I said to be a beetle.
I should do this.
Okay, it all started when
Let me get a chair.
There's a chair there.
It all started.
Yeah, here, there.
There's a chair already.
Beside you.
100 years.
It's a romantic
150 years
story.
ago.
It all started when we were about 16.
Actually, Andrew, they go, oh, sir, 150 years ago.
Never married.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. When I first left Hong Kong to England, and how do I put it? And I was met by someone at the airport, and that is Sieger Heisenberg and his wife Berna. I don't know, many of you might remember him, or might not remember him, might not even have met him anyway. And he was a missionary in Hong Kong, back in the 1959, 58, around there. And at that time, of course, I knew him when I was a kid, and he was the one who helped me to go to England to work for the church in genealogy, microfilming. You have heard of that, microfilming for the church. So he met me there, and he said, the first thing he said, I still remember, he said, there is a girl waiting for you, and don't you ever go to play with other girls. Like, oh. And I didn't listen to him, I had fun. He said, hey, I don't want to be I don't like matchmaking. I want to be on my own, I want to find my own girl. And I was in England for about 4 years and 9 months, and I always decided to go to BYU, so I saved up some money and for the first year and went to BYU. And of course he met me at the airport again. He said, this girl is still waiting for you. I said, okay. You will see. So I was in at BYU for the first year, and then the first year in 71. He said, I was in Lake Tahoe earning my summer money so that I can go back to school for the second year, and then he sent me a telegram, because there was no fixed address right there. It was more or less like a general delivery type of address, and we didn't have a phone, so he sent me a telegram. Because we go to check mails all the time. He said, you phone Bruce Bullock in Calgary. And I said, okay. Well, not this time. So I did phone Bruce Bullock, Brother Bullock. You all know him, right?
Yeah.
Grandpa Bullock.
Grandpa Bullock.
Yeah.
No.
And he told me to write to Auntie Amy. And I think years back, in all those years, Brother Heisenberg, or Sieger Heisenberg, had already thought that Amy is going to be my wife. And that's how it all started. Okay, carry on.
Start with Bruce Bullock, right? June was there, and weren't you there with me to visit Bruce Bullock when I was in Calgary in 1971? Yeah, we were in a den. Went to the den, remember that? Anyway, we were in his den, which I was visiting June. Was I already in Manitoba? I mean, I was in Manitoba, right? But you were married. So I went to visit June, and she took me out, we went to visit Bruce Bullock, because Bruce Bullock was our sponsor for our family, for Grandpa and Grandma here, and the aunts and uncles. Yeah, to come to Canada, so we know him very well. So anyway, I went out there to visit with him, and well, that wasn't the very first time that he tells me about Uncle Terry, because before that, when he comes to Montreal or whenever I see him, he kept telling me, there's this nice young man in Salt Lake City, you should meet him. But wasn't interested. But anyway, I went to visit him, and we were sitting in the den. He says, well, Amy, so when is the wedding? And so I just thought, well, to get him off my back, but just jokingly. I said, well, right now. He says, really? I've got a phone. So he phones right down to C.B. Hazenberg. And luckily, he wasn't there. Crawl into a hole somewhere, because I thought, no, Anyway, he called him, but Uncle Sigurd didn't know what Bruce Bullock was looking for, so he wrote sent a telegram to Dad to tell him to write Bruce Bullock, because Bruce phoned. So that's how it started.
Okay.
Okay, I'll carry on with the story.
So yeah.
And so the second year I was at BYU in September, Sika Hazenberg said, why don't you invite Amy to come down for
first
Christmas?
you wrote.
Oh, first I wrote her because out of obligation. I wrote
Because there was a deal going on.
there was a
between
deal going
him
on, I
and
won't
Bruce
tell you the
Bullock.
deal.
He had to write it before Bruce Bullock would fulfill the
That
deal.
was the deal, and she said, if you do a certain thing, then I will do a certain thing
Oh,
for
thanks.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. Not supposed to tell.
Oh. Okay.
And so he said, if you write to her, this is what I'll do. So I wrote to Amy and I said, well, that's a pretty good deal. So I just wrote to her and wrote to him. I wrote to her. Wrote to her. And in the meantime, he sent me her picture. Okay.
And
I said,
then,
oh well, that's a nice looking girl. That's all right. So nothing happened. So I just wrote her card, and I said, this is the end of my deal. So there you are. I never wrote again until I got back to BYU in Provo, and then Sika Hazenberg said, maybe you should invite her to Salt Lake. We have a big place here, and you guys can meet here and enjoy the Christmas vacation here. And I said, okay. So I was resisting it. I was resisting it, and I talked to his wife for the longest time. I said, this is not right. I mean, you guys are not, I don't like it. And finally said, just to let him get on my back, and I said, okay, I'll meet her and I'll do what you tell me, since you're my good friend and my good brother. You help me so much, so this is the least I can do with you. So he said, phone her, and this is the number. So I did phone her, but in the meantime, they asked me to say, write to her again. So I wrote to her and I told her about Uncle Sam, because my brother Sam, because Uncle Sam or Sam was their missionary. He taught the girls when he was in Hong Kong as a missionary. So I told him about I'm Brother Tang's kid brother, and I told her what I had done in England a little bit, all the travels that I had made, and that was it. And then when I phoned her again, I said, well, he said if you would like to come down, and so we can, more or less meet type of thing. And so she made arrangement to come down and. Okay, go for it.
that's story.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, right. Huh?
Then what?
Then what?
So I went down.
So she went down. She came down, and we met her at the airport. And at that time, the airport at that time, it's not like you have a what do you call it? Those concords, corridor. They don't come to they come down from the outside.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Like down the stairs?
You have to go down the stairs. They push the stair to the cabin door, and then you have to open it. And I saw her and said, "Angel!"
Yes, Mama, what was going on in your mind?
I mean, I didn't say angel from heaven.
You fainted.
I said, hey, this is the one. Yeah, that's right.
They never showed it though.
But I never show it. Oh, man. I was cool, calm, and collected. Kept my posture. You know?
Because before that,
Can't
he
you
wrote me this card and then a letter.
I
About 4 months.
I play cool.
Then after I met
Man,
him, no, but after I met him, you know, it was okay. Like,
I wrote 3 times
was
in 3
okay.
days.
yeah, as soon as I got back to Winnipeg, I got all these letters in my card.
See, angel from heaven, right? So you have to wait. There you go.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Well, what
I
you
mean, that's
No,
it.
you
You're not
don't
married
have a
yet.
wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then we
We're
just,
gonna
let's see. When did Sam get to, I guess the next time, that was in Christmas, 71. You got married and Sam came over. Sam and Lily came over in
1972.
March of 72 or something like that. So I went to Calgary to visit Auntie June, and he went to Calgary to meet his brother, who just came over from France. So we met then. And then Auntie May got married in June of 72. So I went to her wedding, and he came up.
I was in Moses
He was in
Lake,
Moses Lake
Washington,
working.
working for the sugar factory.
Yeah,
Oh,
he,
boy.
and he came up, and he came up to her wedding.
What?
Took pictures for them. So we met then, and then we didn't meet again till Christmas. 72. No, 72. 73 you went to Hong Kong. And then we didn't meet again for another year from Christmas.
Okay,
72.
just wait. What are you doing in between here?
We
Write
wrote-
letters?
Oh, I wrote him every day.
Do you like him? I guess so.
Every day.
Like you.
Every day.
I wrote every single day, and he rates me
Once a week.
once a week and calls me. Once in a while he'll call
I
me.
can't afford it.
Yeah, he can't afford it. But he was going to school and working too, so he wrote me once a week. But I wrote him every day, and he calls me once in a while. And then, but in 72 we met at Christmas again at Seegers, and then we didn't see each other again.
Do you write in Chinese?
No?
Do you talk in Chinese?
Yeah.
Chinglish.
Chinglish.
And then we didn't meet for another year. We didn't see each other for a whole year of 73 until Christmas. And he came to Winnipeg, and Kung Papa was supposed to come from Montreal, but they got stuck they couldn't get going because there was a big ice storm.
Yeah.
And they were stuck at the airport for 7 hours and they went home. They went to Hong Kong, but Tony's brother was there. Tony's brother Victor was there. Anyway, he came, and
And we had a great time
we were engaged
with his
at-
brother.
Yeah, because I went to work. I had to work, and so he and Victor ran around. I rented a little buggy and couldn't really drive it because it was Volkswagen shift stick.
You can't.
I don't really know how to drive a shift standard car, it keeps stalling. Anyway, he and Victor had a good time. I had to work. But we were engaged that Christmas, though. See, they were supposed to come because we were getting
You're
engaged.
supposed to tell us.
You knew that you were getting engaged?
Yeah.
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 Well, he proposed during her wedding.
Oh, tell us how.
Rewind. Rewind.
We were really engaged at Christmas.
What did you say, Dad?
We went formally.
We calculated it. We just
One,
see.
2, 3. The fourth time we were engaged.
Fourth time.
But how much time?
About 2
Over
70 years,
2.5
72 2.5 years.
2.5 years. 4 times.
You're engaged the second time you met?
No,
No, the
no,
fourth
more.
time.
But the second time he
broke.
proposed. The second time we met.
That's what I mean.
No, June is the 5th time because I forgot the Christmas 71.
Was it a total surprise? The proposal was a total surprise?
No, he gave me little hints before. He gave me this card that has this poem. So Oh, you have a card that has this little hints.
Romantic poem.
It wasn't. What is that?
I can't remember now.
人面桃花，
少年
少年我。
Whatever that is.
不知何處
You
去
know I'm not good at
發
those.
呢
I
嚿
got
小
all
春
those
風
from the Apache and you laughed your head off, remember? Because I didn't know what all these were and you read them. You laughed and laughed and you didn't know what all these mean. But anyway,
Mine, was it?
no, it wasn't yours, it was
Okay.
Apache.
Some other
Oh,
boyfriend.
Lawrence.
You laughed at my card? My card?
But did you know I have an accident when we
Yeah.
went back?
So we went over the boulevard.
No, he fell asleep and the car went into the ditch.
That
But it came
was
back up.
my life was spared.
we were meant to be here.
We were very
Sorry.
close to Spokane, and then I fell asleep because I was at the wheel. The car went to the other side of the road, went down to the ditch, the gravel, and came back up, and it's just like
roller coaster.
no, the car just tilted back a little bit in an angle, and it scraped the road. The handle was just like razor sharp, you know, because it was scraped on the gravel, on the cement road, and then, you know, we knocked over 2 signposts, went right down the middle of the car, and then go, they go, oh!
That's bad.
And then went out and inspected the car and kind of touched that, you know, handle, because the guy who went with me was sleeping in the back.
And he never woke up.
He never woke up. And when we touched the car, it was so sharp, you know, and hot. So, you know, but eventually we opened and inspected the car and said, I guess we can drive home. So we did. We drove home and drove that car for the rest of the summer. And left it.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that. Left it at Moses Lake and sold it for $200. Because the guy wanted the engine, or some, not the engine, the body, because he said, I can fix those. The engine was more or less like bad. When I bought it from BYU in Provo, it was kind of a bad engine. And I drove to Moses Lake, it was kind of bad, but we drove to Calgary.
Where's Moses?
And Uncle Bullock gave me 12 cans, 12 or 24, I can't remember, can of 1 quart oil. I used 17 of them.
Every 100 miles,
The last 700 miles, I pour more or less every 50 miles to pour some.
24 cans. Oh.
Almost used it up, and he gave me, I think, about 24 cans. It's quite a bit. He gave it to me. So,
Any questions?
any questions?
Well, when did you get married?
Yeah, you have to tell everything.
July 6th.
Right here.
July 6th, 1974.
In Calgary.
In Karsten.
Karsten.
And we had a reception at Uncle June's house.
It's all recorded.
Auntie June's house.
Everyone makes it.
Uncle Richard's house. You know that one, 1919, with the trees in there?
Okay, I have to tell you one last thing.
You can.
This is important.
Okay.
Then I always have this romantic feeling that I will carry her. What do you call it?
Thresher.
Yeah. You know, through the thresh.
Over the
Over. And they played a trick on me on the car. And
Put rocks in the hot
first of all, they put honey, you know, and then
All over
put
the car.
all over the car, you know, with letters and stuff. And what else?
Sign rocks.
rocks in the
Put little rocks.
He had everything
Rocks in a
that
hot
he
cap.
knows.
So when a hubcap,
and
Inside.
a string of
and
cans
then a
underneath.
string of cans underneeth, but that didn't bother me because it's visible. But the rock in the
We didn't know.
wheel, it goes. What's going on? We're supposed to go honeymoon with this car.
It was like something is wrong with this car.
So when we went to the motel and inspected the car and said, nothing wrong, but what is it? Forgot all about her. Let's go in. That was it.
I made him
So
go
she
back
said-
outside.
Have you forgotten something? I said, what have I forgotten? You were supposed to do something. What is it?
I never.
She told me we had to go outside. And say,
He was
Oh,
all,
well.
it was completely like,
He's all
all
hyped up for
attention was on the
it.
conic. What's wrong with this guy?
but the next day, the Hazelberg came out from the other motel. He said, "Do you do you hear that noise in your car?" I said, "Yes, it was worrisome." He said, "Well, is this some rock enough?"
They put it in there.
They put it in there.
Uncle Tony said.
I was
Oh,
part
wow.
of it.
I only watched. I only watched.
No, it's not boring.
Okay, it's time for the
Come on, start.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go again.
Look at this.
Well, I haven't written my account, my personal history, so it's not as organized as yours. And at the same time, ours is very, very simple because it all happened in Winnipeg. We don't have to write. We don't have to, do it by long distance or what have you. And we have no matchmaking. Well, I have to qualify that though, a little bit later on. How I met May? You have this, traditional Chinese student association sponsored dance every year at the beginning of the year. And I was a student then. I was a graduate student at U of M. And so I automatically am, a member of the Chinese Student Association. And so we went to this dance. And in the middle of the dance, I saw this girl in red, almost from top to bottom, in red dress, in a red pair of high heels.
He remembers
Remembers
everything.
everything.
So we were sort of wondering who that girl was because she was not in the university. So I sort of ventured to sort of find out exactly who she is. But later on, I found out that it's Amy's sister. Because at that time, Amy and I worked in the same lab. I was
Not
a
the
graduate
same
student.
lab, same
Well,
department.
in the same department, immunology. I was a student then, and she was a lab technologist with a doctor. So it was it was good because that's how I could, get into the whole thing.
But how did you find out she was?
Well,
We were all there.
because
Maybe somebody,
we
Eric
talk
or
and then we know from our spies and from our sources that's how their relationships are. You want to carry on?
So anyways, I was wearing a
No,
red
you're
dress.
not done. You're not
Well,
done
no.
to her.
You're not done.
Oh,
You and them
oh,
too.
you can tell what you
You can
Did you
talk
see?
about the dance.
Okay, well, first how I moved to Winnipeg. I was in Montreal and we moved because Auntie June was in Winnipeg. We decided, or Amy and I decided to move there, and because when we came we didn't know anybody, so when it came September we decided to go to the Chinese student dance. And I think 3 of us went with Eric Wu. So we didn't have a date, but we went with him.
Who's Eric Wu?
Eric Wu was he's a member.
He was a member.
student.
of the church.
He was a student at U of M.
I went too.
You did?
Oh, yeah,
I
you
did.
Oh,
You couldn't
okay,
have been going there yourself. I knew you already.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was the early part of September. You may not have been back. Well, you should be back.
Anyway, I only remember that. And,
Background commentary.
we danced. I think we danced that night, but I don't remember seeing him. But I remember.
I remember seeing him. Well, I didn't know then, but later on when I saw him again, I remember seeing him. He had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. I wasn't exactly impressed then.
Okay.
Good. So I didn't impress you, right?
He had a cigarette hanging out of your mouth.
So
But it wasn't lit, was it?
Okay, let me fill in a little bit here. Of course, I was get to her and to invite her to a dance. But I found out that she was taken, she was already she was taken by another boy or man or whatever, a guy. And so I didn't see the chance of doing it because it was just too obvious to just go there and do the thing. And I thought that maybe it's a good time to just watch and play the next move some other day or some other night. But I didn't. I just explore a little bit on that first night. Let me tell you my first date with Auntie May here.
No, actually, let me tell how. You're talking about the first date to the cinema now? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before
then, because I remember Auntie May. Well, you mentioned something about Uncle Tony, didn't you? Anyway,
he wanted to.
When he phoned that night, and I mentioned to Auntie Amy, about you, and she told me, she said, "Don't go with him. He smokes." And then he said, and then he asked me to go to Cinnabon, and she said, "Don't go with him. He's gonna go gamble." But then I didn't listen to Auntie Amy, so I decided I'll just go and see. That's how we got started. Yeah.
Okay, my first date.
Did you go gamble?
Just move.
I have to say something. Because we work in the state department, just a lab across the hall or something. So he tries to, he uses excuse about giving me a ride or taking the grocery or whatever. But so one time he did give me a ride and help me take the groceries in the apartment because he wanted to find a way to get inside our apartment to meet her. So that's how he did it. He just kind of, he gave.
What a
He
guy.
finds, he tried to work it through.
What a guy.
Take him.
I didn't know that I was that
Tricky.
tricky.
We gotta learn the moves with you.
That's how he got in and met me on the one-to-one. He felt he helped me carry groceries.
Were you impressed?
Huh?
At first we thought you were interested in
Right.
we
We thought you were sort of, so I guess I didn't think much about it.
I knew,
Anyways, my first date, I took May to the racing track.
Do you remember? I wouldn't let him go into the.
Yeah,
Inside.
It was a harness racing. You know what harness racing is? It's 2 wheels and
that
and
little
with the horse and go.
Little buggy.
And the tickets when you get into the gamble, you pay $2, and then if you win, it pays out whatever, $3, $5, $10, whatever. And it paid $13.50.
he got.
And I got, that $2 was all I got at that time, plus the gas in the car. Otherwise, I couldn't have taken her to anywhere. And so I won, so the payoff of $13.50. And after that, I took her to a cabaret, like a nightclub. And
But I didn't like going to the cinema because we stay outside most of the time because I wouldn't let him go
because
in.
she didn't like to smoke, so we were outside and we were not. Or she didn't want me to go inside because it was very smoky. But anyways, I took her to the cabaret
With your $13.
with my $13.50. I ordered a drink called gin and tonic.
Ooh.
And I asked her, whether you want a drink, and she says, "No, I don't want a drink." I don't think you ordered any drink, did you?
I don't know, something, but I don't. Yeah.
Anyways, I was sipping my gin and tonic, and she was talking about the gospel.
Over real loud music. I was almost like yelling. The music was so loud.
She used the word Joseph Smith, restoration, the gospel, the LDS Church.
Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon, whatever. And I was okay, you know, I was sipping my gin and tonic. All right, okay, tell me more. So that was our first date.
No, you say you want to stay later, and I said I have to get up because I have a sewing lesson to go.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was it true?
Yeah.
Was it true?
Who? You. What else?
Oh, and then after that, we went to places to eat. Remember the Beachcomber that you
Yeah.
liked? And I remember
Sometime later.
we went for dinner, and it was one of my favorite places. And he asked again if I wanted a drink, and I said no thanks. But we ordered dinner, but I was still hungry when I went home. I didn't dare to eat more than he did. So I had to go home and eat again. You know? So every time we go out, I always have to go home and eat.
I had lots of money then. I mean, why didn't you just say so?
She said if you want to eat
More than you do.
And then later on, we knew each other more. I used to go to his apartment.
That's why you can eat so much.
And what your roommate Paul, his roommate, he would cook, and then they used to watch how much I eat.
Auntie May always have a big, huge plate of potatoes, piling them high.
I mean, seriously. It is.
Seriously, she likes those things.
Uncle Bullock said I gotta feed her hay. Just like Darren, he has a huge appetite.
Oh, but
Oh yeah.
I should say, yeah. And then
6 bowls of rice.
we sort of after a while, I didn't sort of
Take it to
introduce
the
him
museum,
to the
never
church. And I remember we asked the missionary came to our place. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
Or we were anyway to have lessons, and I keep telling missionary, don't you ever mention about baptism. Don't say a word until he's ready. So you know, and then I guess December you got baptized.
December, yeah. December.
You don't remember he came
Less
to
than
our
a year.
house? 71 or 72? Oh, 71.
71.
71.
Yeah.
So you.
And then Uncle Richard.
And Uncle Richard was the one
baptized
who
me.
He was
baptized
married in
me
the temple in 72.
and confirmed me.
Yeah, 1 year before you go to the temple.
He got married in June. There was only 6 months.
Well, maybe you have 6
1970.
months then.
Oh, 1970.
1970.
Because
That's
we
what I
came
said.
September 70.
Yeah, I thought you said 71.
And got baptized December 1970.
It was a year and a half
So
later.
how long did it take for you to get baptized? You know, after knowing?
About 6 months.
Very good.
Oh, that's
Wow.
impressive.
Must be
No, no, no.
3
we
months.
came September.
12 years.
You got baptized in December.
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The magic of love.
Uncle Richard baptized him. And then what did we do? We just sort of.
Did you,
No.
were you really interested at first, or were you just interested in her, so
Both.
you took it? Both curious as well as,
Yeah.
because I'm one.
I actually, the reason why I was impressed by the family. I was impressed by the family. And I thought that, seriously speaking, I thought that the family had given me a lot of inspiration. And I thought that is a good family with wholesome life, and I thought that there's nothing wrong with joining that family. So there you go. That's part of the reasons.
And we got engaged, in 71. I can't remember what month even. I don't remember what month we got
After
engaged.
June.
Oh, maybe it was, yeah.
June was married in 71.
No, you were engaged before we left.
Yeah, before.
Maybe in December or sometime, because before we left in May 71. So you were engaged, there was a party and you were engaged, we were
You were
there.
engaged.
Yeah, there was a
A year and a
party.
half?
We gave a party, yeah. And then I only remember when to get the ring. I don't remember anything else. And then we were married.
You were engaged
On
before
June
you met
24th.
us.
We were engaged before you. Oh, really?
No, I don't know.
No,
I asked him.
I think
No.
we did-
they were engaged
Oh, no.
just
no.
before we left Calgary,
Yeah, so that was.
71.
Now I remember we did have a party. We just threw all the
But,
inflatable.
when did we
furniture and had a party in our
Inflatable.
Inflatable?
Remember we had
Oh,
two
wait.
chairs that you
Oh,
could
the-
lock
Oh,
up?
when did you meet them?
And bring the camera.
I met them
Yeah, 1970.
1970 when
That's
they
before you were,
when you came to Winnipeg to have.
before you were engaged. Right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He was engaged just
You
before
were
we
just
left.
baptized.
A few months before we left.
We were there.
You
Yeah.
spent the Christmas with
Yeah, we
with
ha-
your
we see all those
children,
people
and then
that
I was
we
part of
invite.
it.
Yeah.
I remember you talked to Dad before you were engaged.
Yeah.
I thought you were very impressed.
Woo.
The right
Now I know the truth.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think yeah. And then I remember now we gave a party, and then a year later we got married.
Yeah, that's real simple.
June 24, 1972. Carson Temple.
June 24?
And that's it.
And the reception took place
Oh.
at Grandpa
At
Bullock's
house.
place.
Oh.
Same place where we had that. We
Do you remember a honeymoon in a hotel? I was frank. I was panicking because I couldn't find the travel check.
remember you
I had a
phoned us.
new person. I didn't remember. I put it in a new compartment. Oh no!
Everybody has some frantic moments.
Yeah.
I remember you phoned up.
Okay.
Okay, is it okay? It all started when I was in my second year geological engineering after Christmas.
Where?
In Winnipeg, Manitoba, at the University of Manitoba. I was invited to I think it's a dance, and I think it's a dance from the Malaysian students, and I didn't have anybody to go with. So I was thinking to try to invite somebody to go. And I remember there was this nice girl that I met several months before when I came back to school on a bus tour. You know, the Chinese Student Association with a bus tour for the new students.
It'll take a.
So, anyways, I remember Auntie June. So, I didn't know whether she has any friend or not. I just tried because I went down the phone, the Chinese Student Association list to find out who is this I know. Anyway, I called her and to see if she can come, and she said,
Oh yeah.
"Did you say okay?"
To the dance?
Yeah. So she came to, and I told her that I met her at that Chinese Student Association, and I think she told me she remembered.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Anyway, that's how we started. That was our first date. Let's go to that. I think is Malaysian Student Association dance. And I don't have very much money then. Was a student, so she lived downtown Winnipeg, and I lived in campus. So I took the bus all the way out to get her, and then I think we took the bus in back in the dance, and I didn't have a lot of money or time either that night, and I thought I'll hire a taxi to send her back. But anyways, we had a lot of fun that night, dancing. But I was going to have her home on a taxi. But some of my friends, around 11:30 or something, came and said, "Hey, there's a couple of cars going back downtown. You want to have your girlfriends, live downtown? Why don't you have her go with me?" I said, "Well, but I'm going to have her go later, on the taxi." And they kept trying to tell me, try to save me money, thinking that that's the proper way to do it. And so I sent her home with people that I don't even know. But I know they're all students. I know they're okay. And but then I thought about it afterward. I said, I don't know whether she's going to come with me again. And anyways, I really liked her after first date, so I called her again. Went looking for some function to go, and I saw the International Student Association, and I called her again, and she came with me again. So I guess she didn't get mad at me enough to not come with me. How did you feel?
You're mad.
No, I thought it was really weird. But that's okay, because it was only the first date.
Anyhow, she came with me in the second function, and then so I tried to get her to go things every, I think once a week. Try to every week and say, oh, can you go next week? Can you go next week? So we kept going out for a few times, and finally, I went. Sometimes I go to visit her at her YMCA. You cannot, or YWCA, and we can't go upstairs because that's the rule. So we stay at the downstairs to the top. And but one of those time, I don't remember which time, she told me about the church.
Oh,
She
you
said-
don't remember either.
She said, if you're not a member of the church, I can't go out with you too much longer, something like that, or may not be able to, be serious.
When is this? Like 1969?
This is 1960.
He gets behind you.
No, 69. No, 68.
We really didn't really start dating at this.
Oh, 69, yeah. January 69.
But you were baptized 69, weren't you? How long did it take you?
Hey, you're jumping.
To what?
Jumping.
Like Tony says, about 3 months. How long did it take you?
Well, it's about 4 or 5 months. Yeah, and then she invited me to go to church, so I went to church with her. I was my parents always taught me that any religion is good, so I didn't really mind religion, but I didn't know true church or not church. Just religion. Any of the Christianity church is okay. So I went, and she had a lot of friends there to befriend me there, and I get to know them. I feel comfortable. I kept going, and I enjoy it. I like it. So I went there, and then I started taking missionary lessons, and I read the Book of Mormon, and I felt the Spirit. I finally, I think the missionary challenged me to get baptized, and I got baptized before I had to leave the school. I had to leave in end of April. I had to go up north to work. So decided to be baptized before I had to leave for the summer. So I was baptized after that year. Anything there?
No, but just to say that I've never dated anybody else. First and last. I didn't think I would ever get married because, I figure I have to marry a member, a Chinese, somebody taller than me. I was tall. Big and tall. I thought, I'll never find anybody. And I wanted to marry an engineer. Those are my things. He's got to be taller than me. He's got to be an engineer. You didn't
Got it
know?
all.
Yeah, that's because we have,
First
had
try.
David at
That's
home.
it, on the first
Pretty
try.
good, can fix things. I thought, I can't marry anybody that cannot fix anything. You got to be able to fix things for me. And
What a lucky
I had a teacher at school that said, you never find somebody tall, a Chinese taller than you, and an engineer. And another thing, they have to come from Hong Kong.
Oh,
Wasn't
wow.
from Taiwan.
Just
Not from Taiwan.
Just
I don't know if it was
coincidence.
coincidence or what, but first and
She thought.
Did you pray about it?
no.
At least she's honest.
Because I never thought I would marry because I saw Amy. She, had boys, and it never works out. And I thought, and May had boys, it never works out. I thought, oh, this never work out. And I planned to
Did father have
graduate
boys?
and go to Hawaii with Amy.
She thought she was going to marry a Hawaiian.
I thought maybe a Hawaiian would do.
They were big. They would be big.
Yeah, that was a real worry for me because I was tall. I thought, and all these Chinese guys are so small. Oh, I'll never get married. Never find the right one. But it was, I did go out with a couple of people, right, but just for one time. So he was the first time last. And it was, I didn't plan to get married that soon, right? Because my older sisters weren't married yet. So I didn't worry about it, It was going to be her first and then me.
You're first?
But you
And working
And
in
Just the reverse.
Well, anyway, it turned out that we, let's see, we knew each other for about a year. That Christmas, I think, that year, say 1969 Christmas, went to Montreal to visit the family.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And
And got
Bought
sick.
3 boxes of
yeah, I got
potato
sick.
chips, man.
I had to take the ride the bus, you know, in that at those times the people smoking the bus, you know, all the way for a long time, you know. And I arrived there Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. I was in the smoky bus,
It's a train, is it?
No.
smoky bus. And I get off and managed to get in there, find the house okay.
The first time
And
Richard got sick, he
Yeah.
didn't know what sickness is.
Yeah, I got sick at the house when I got there.
No, he got sick of us.
But fortunately, New Year's dance that time, everybody seemed to, more than me, you know, have cold or something, and then we all decided to go to
New Year's party.
New Year's party, and then we were okay. And when we went, is it running out of tape?
yeah, getting close.
I don't have any more tape.
Take it, what do you do?
I
No,
don't
no,
have
no,
any
no.
more tape.
I think I
Do you
have
have any
got.
tape?
8mm.
I
Haven't
have
used
to.
it.
I have to find. I think left over from last year.
Hey, no, I know where those are.
The
Do you have any more?
Got
any
anything?
tape?
Anyways, as we talk, we're wasting
8
kids up.
millimeter video aids.
So I'll use it up.
But I don't know.
I'm the son. Let me see.
Well, if I'm not sure whether you still have any more there.
About 2 minutes, something like that.
2
Oh
minutes?
yes, my
Oh,
name
okay.
is Jason.
Okay, let me finish me,
Yeah.
and then we'll go to.
Yeah, chair.
Anyways, I went to see him, and then she came home. She went back to Manitoba University with me after Christmas, and we took the train back. So we took the train back, and on the train, I talked to her about. I was proposing to her. I didn't talk to her parents, but at that time I was thinking about, you know, I was proposing to her, and. I didn't give her, it was not engaged or anything, I didn't give her an engagement ring. But anyway, we were poor, I was a poor student, and she graduated that following year, and then she was working, so actually she bought the engagement ring and wedding ring. No, maybe I bought the engagement ring and she bought the wedding rings.
Now, tell me the true story.
Yeah, I think I bought Eaton's.
I bought something.
Anyways,
Sure
yeah,
it wasn't a 1 cent store?
we dated until I graduated, which is 1971, the summer, and that was quite a few. You know, we knew each other at the beginning of '79, and we were engaged. I mean, we were married on May 1st, 1971, in Calgary. I mean, actually,
So
Carson
a year and a
Temple.
half about?
More than that.
Oh no, 2
2.5 years.
2.5.
So, we got married in the Carson Temple, and let's see, what else?
Have your reception and pictures available.
Yeah, you know, at that time, Dad was working in McGill University. He can't take time off, but we want to get married sooner, as soon as we got to Calgary, because we don't want to live, you know, separately and live in the same city. So we want to get married as soon as we got there, and Kung Kung was busy, having to work that time, was busy, and we thought he can't come. And then when they show up with pictures
Oh, it's kind of
when we got there, right?
Remember that.
They're kind of surprised.
That's where they had
Surprises, and Auntie Amy came too, and well, we were really surprised. We went, so we got married at that time, and we had no money though. You know, we start from scratch. And
But it was
they
an
gave us
engine.
$200. Papa gave us $200 for wedding present, and that's what we used to go to honeymoon.
Where'd you go?
They took the train to Vancouver, and then I wanted to go to Victoria. Auntie June wouldn't go because she said she wanted to save some money, so when we get back, we get some pots and pans.
So that $200 go a long way.
Man, in those days,
You guys only charge them $3 to live in that lousy.
Yeah, we live in the cheapest hotel, $3.
They're cockroaches,
You
weren't
know,
they?
cockroaches and
Their honeymoon suite.
our honeymoon was
Dark hallways.
share bathroom. But anyway, she wanted to save all the money, so when we get back, we had something to start with. She got mad at me wanting to go to Victoria, and so we mad at me for a few days. Or
Few hours, few minutes.
anyway, you know one thing we forgot that I joined a new company, oil company. I could have stayed in a nice hotel for a couple of weeks, at least 3 weeks, without paying, but we didn't know that. At that time, we were new. we went to Calgary, rented a basement suite right away, and moved in before we didn't get married, move everything in, and then got married and went to the basement. But we could have stayed in a nice hotel for 3 weeks. Now I find out.
Part of the moving thing.
Oh, they did
They
move
moved
him,
things for us.
but there was hardly anything.
Yeah, they moved in.
You gotta
They
pack
moved in,
it
but I
up
put
fast.
all my stuff in there too. So even they move everything, it's nothing.
Just a few suitcases.
So that's it.
Wow.
Uncle David.
Yeah.
All right.
You need a new tape.
You want to sit here?
I did.
found
Probably
I
got,
found it.
yeah, a minute left. Probably.
Yeah. Any questions?
It was 5 months then? 5 months. 5 months before you joined.
How long did it take you to join the church?
Almost 5 months is end of April.
We were engaged on my 21st birthday. Were you engaged the same time as me then?
How can we be engaged at the same time? Where?
You're engaged on your birthday?
I don't
On
remember.
my
I
21st
around-
birthday.
don't
It's
remember.
pretty well around.
Like it's all members of
Richard
party.
said you were engaged.
Because I don't remember your
just
party.
before
I
they left
remember my party.
Kevin, where are you keeping
Well, he didn't ask his dad because his dad is dead. But he did right now.
It's washable.
Okay, next.
Long time.
Let's see, 1978. Summer 1978, I graduated from college in Boston.
78.
Boston.
In 1978, right.
Okay, we're jumping in.
Well, he's
So,
younger.
yeah,
This
right.
is PhD though, right?
Right.
He's not about PhD.
So I started
not
in Boston at MIT at 1968. I went till 1973, went on my mission, came back in 1975, and finished my PhD in 1978. Okay, so I finally graduated and still hadn't found anybody. Okay, and Boston, there are a lot of people, a lot of students. Okay, and so I figured, well, this is it, right? I mean, before I left, I looked around a little more and make sure I didn't miss anybody. And I got a job in Richfield, Connecticut, which is a very small place, very small town. So I figured, this is it, right? I go to work and I'll
Well,
never be
bachelor.
married. That's right. Bachelor for the rest of my life. So I went to Richfield, Connecticut. I got an apartment there, and I took every penny I had, all my savings. I borrowed some money from Mama.
You did. It's your money.
Oh well, maybe I don't remember, but
Is that her place?
and bought a piano. Otherwise, there was nothing else in the apartment.
Bed.
Just a piano
Right?
and a bed.
In a bed.
When Auntie Salas first saw it, I had my $10 bed and my $10 desk from school. I took them there, and I had one fork, one knife, and one spoon, and I bought one chair. And I think I had a TV, but that was it.
And a Steinway grand piano.
And a Steinway grand.
Oh!
Wow.
So that was $5,000, something like that.
Way more than
So,
For 10 now.
but then there was a family, the Davises, in the ward where I went to church, and they knew of this Chinese family in Brooklyn, New York, that had 7 girls in the family. So, I had
Check it out.
So they wanted me to meet the family, and it wasn't the first time somebody tried to do matchmaking, right? I mean, it's been many times, and they had never worked. But I figure, 7, the odds are. It's Brooklyn. It's a long ways. It's like 2 hours, 4 hours drive. Right? 4 hours drive.
2 hours from Connecticut.
Oh, from Connecticut, yeah, 2 hours drive. But the odds were pretty good, so I figured, okay, I'll go. So, so I told them I'd go, and there was some family they were visiting in Brooklyn, right? I was going to go and eat with the family and so on. Well, the day came, all the kids got sick, and they said, well, sorry, they can't go, but would I go anyways? And I went anyways. I went by myself, and I showed up at this place, the family, and I guess they had thought, or they had found out that Davises were sick, thought they weren't going to come. So I showed up in this house, and I knocked on the door, and there were no parents around. There were a bunch of kids, so they invited me in, and I had dinner with the kids.
All 7.
And none of us were there. We were invited to the dinner too.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, but it was Chinese New Year. It's the day of Chinese New Year. So we stayed home for dinner. We didn't go to that dinner.
So I guess the dinner was off, but I didn't know. I showed up in the house anyway. So I ate with the kids, and then went to
Is that
the.
the grandchildren? When you
No,
say
this
kids?
is another family.
Oh, another family.
Yeah,
Oh.
different family. The friends
The
of
family in the
Davises
ward.
and the
Oh,
Lewis.
I see.
Common friends of both. So, but the occasion was Stella's sister's missionary farewell. And so we went to church meeting afterwards, and that's when I saw the family.
In that small Chinese branch?
Yeah, the Chinese.
No, it was an American, Brooklyn
Oh,
ward.
it was Brooklyn Ward. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's no Chinese branch back then.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't me. But anyways, then afterwards, I guess I got myself introduced to the family anyways, even though there was nobody there to introduce me. I figured if I come all this way, might as well get the job done, right? So, but it was Chinese New Year, so it wasn't hard. I mean, they were inviting everybody to go to the house and eat, which the Mui family did a lot. They just invite anybody over on Sunday. And, the boat joke, and the more people come, the more water you put in. There's always enough, right? So anyways, when I was there, I remember her sister, older sister, Isabella, and Susan,
Who was giving the farewell.
was the
On
one
the mission.
going on a mission, kept talking to me, talked a lot. But I just, I noticed Auntie Stella, but she didn't say anything. In fact, I guess it was in church that I saw her, and she was the only one I got interested in, and then she led the music. And then I thought, well, some of her sisters are already married, like Isabella and Shirley and so on. Right. So I figured this one's probably married, and I thought, well, But afterwards, went to the house, and you never talked to me, right? And I never talked to you either.
Good start.
Went home, and
I figured he was there to meet Susan.
yeah, that's what everybody figured. But why though? She was going on her mission.
She was your age.
Yeah, but she was going on a mission. Didn't make sense to me. But anyways, I went home and I decided to call her up, to ask her out, even though I never talked to her. But it happened that I had a business trip to go to New York City. So I called her up and said I wanted to meet her, right? I wanted to go, But what happened? I went down on a business trip. It was for a course, and I got sick. I got real sick. So, but a couple of days later, I guess I was a little better, and we did go out, right? Go to eat. And that's the other funny thing is the Davises, Brother Davis had a restaurant, a French restaurant in Richville. I mean, it's a really nice restaurant. I hadn't been there before. But before I left, I asked him, well, what's a nice place to go eat in New York City? And he says, La Caravelle. Okay. Didn't know what it was. It was a French restaurant. So we went there, and it turned out.
On our first date, we went to this French restaurant.
First day, we went to this French restaurant, and we were kind of the oddballs, I think. I mean, now I think about it, probably knowing it, probably wouldn't have gone in, right? But
Real well dressed
the meal, yeah, very
It
well
was,
dressed.
High
in
class.
fact, the highest, probably one of the best.
Probably the most
French-
expensive. The bill for the two of us was $72.
At that time.
At that time, that was long time ago.
You didn't even have any drink.
McDonald's
No, we
probably
didn't have any
$2 or less. Yeah, we didn't have any drinks, but we did sample everything, right? I mean, the whole
We had
full
a
French
main course plus the dessert. Yeah.
So, I had credit card, but I had no cash. I
didn't
thought they
take
would take a
personal
credit
check
card.
either.
It wasn't until afterwards I found out they didn't take a credit card.
Oh.
So I guess I had some money, but I had to ask her to come up with the rest. So between the two of us, we managed to only tip them, what, $8? Which is less than you would normally, you know. It's more like, I guess we put in 10%.
Yeah.
It should have been 15%. But between the two of us, we spent all our cash and managed to pay $80. But we got out of the restaurant, and I was parked in the garage that costed $22. So what we did was we had to walk across town to where her father worked.
And borrow
first
money.
date and borrow money so we could go get the car. So I guess,
Didn't make a good impression.
yeah, it didn't make a very good impression for the first date. But I guess like the other stories, right?
Now, I want to cut you short. Why did you have to go to that expensive?
We
We didn't know what kind of restaurant it was.
It was introduced to them, was recommended.
Yeah,
Recommended to them.
See,
Because they had a restaurant.
I told Brother Davis I'd go to New York City. What's a good place to go to, you know? He says La Caravelle, you know? I mean, it's a good place, I guess. You couldn't go wrong, but he didn't tell me how much it would cost. And in fact, they wouldn't take a credit card.
Were you surprised when you, as soon as you went in, were you surprised that?
Yeah, I saw the cost and I said, okay, I got a credit card, you know. I mean, and I was in company business, so, you know, at least my part would have been covered anyway, you know. I mean, $40, even though it'd be $40, they would still cover it. But I didn't, the problem was,
Don't take credit
didn't take a credit
I'm
card.
really surprised, huh?
So that was the experience of the first day.
No, how about the getting sick? Was not the first day?
Yeah.
The
Oh,
getting sick.
that's what-
Well, he came into town and he got sick. We were supposed to go on Tuesday, and he got so sick that he called him and said, "We can't go Tuesday." On Tuesday, he called. I said, "Gee, this guy is not for real." So, but then my dad went to your hotel
Yeah.
the next day.
And
Was
brought me
some
the Chinese,
Medicine.
yeah, joke and everything. Well, her dad is very friendly to everybody, you
Yeah.
know. So I guess he revived me. So it wasn't the first time he met me when we went to
Yeah.
borrow money.
And then when he went back after the first day, he went back home and he was sick for another week.
Yeah, I was real sick.
Because we had to walk in the rain and the cold to get the car
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah. But then I guess I called her back. I didn't know she was gonna go out again, ever. But we had a young adult conference in West Point, New York, and I asked if she was going. It wasn't really a date, right? I asked if she was going, and she was, so I said I'd meet her there. So that was the second time we met. That was like a 3-day weekend young adult conference type of thing. And then I think, well, you know, it's a long distance from Connecticut to Brooklyn, so I think we maybe saw each other maybe 4 more times before I proposed.
Yeah.
So it was about 6 times we saw. But the thing was, oh yeah, I got home and I knew that she was the one I was interested in, but I thought she might have been married, you know. I figured, you know, somebody like that's probably married.
He thought she was pretty.
As luck would go. So I asked the Davises, and they said, no, that's the one. She's not married. So
The only.
that's why I called.
No, some,
No, there were a few.
No, there were younger ones.
Susie and
There were younger
Son.
ones that weren't married.
Steve, I'm not married yet. Are you?
Do all your sisters start with the letter S?
yeah, our
Yeah,
sisters were
all
there.
S. And there's a Susan and there's a Susie. They didn't know they were different. I didn't see that. So now what happens? Oh yeah, but I called her and I went out, I guess, once with her. And then I remember my roommate from school friend came by. And I remember, because I wrote in my journal, that I had told him that this was the one. So I guess I felt pretty sure that you know, it'd probably work out. So after about 6 times, and what, about 2 months? I saw her 6 times in 2 months and proposed.
That was in March. We met in end of January.
And you brought her to Edmonton, or to Alberta.
June.
Oh yeah, that was in
79?
June. Oh yeah, that's right. But you know, so once we were engaged, and she came up to.
Wait, tell them about
Oh.
the night we got engaged. I mean, you proposed you were going to tell my father.
Yes.
After or before?
Yeah, went out and asked her, and I guess you didn't reply for a day or two. Right? You went and checked with all her friends for advice. Can I marry this guy?
Yeah, because only for 2 months, and we only met 4 times.
Her father has this vision, I guess, with her older sister, that you have a guy that date your daughter, and he comes and do all these things for you, like for your family, like he bought a lot of things, and he came and took the family to all kind of things, and what's this? I come 6 times and you want to get married, But that night we went home and we decided we better ask her father. Her father worked late in a restaurant as a cashier. Doesn't come home till like 2 or 3 in the morning. So we stayed up in the living room waiting for him, come back. Finally, by about 2 or 3 o'clock, he walked through the door, and I guess we asked him, right? I asked him, and he says,
So I know you said, I have something to discuss with you.
mm-hmm. Yeah, you tell. I don't remember.
And he just walks in and says, talk to me about it tomorrow. Don't tell me anything. And then he refused to talk to you. He went upstairs, and I went upstairs to get him to come back down, and he refused to do it. So we had to stay, and then we couldn't talk to him. Then the next day he refused to come downstairs. He just didn't want him, he knew what was coming.
Yeah, I think he knew it was coming.
And he refused to talk to him.
But the
And then he asked my mother, because my mother was there the whole time. My father just stayed in the room, refused to come out.
yeah, and I asked her mother, and the first thing she did was just bawl out, just cry. She says, "What? You want to take my daughter?" She was starting to show me my daughter makes all these things, all these curtains. Meanwhile, she had already graduated from college. She already worked for 1.5 years, right?
Yeah.
And she was already 24,
23.
23. Okay. So I thought, gosh, what did I do?
That's interesting.
And we wanted to get. Oh, and then I guess I called Ye Mama or Grandpa, however you look at it. And they said, great, I said, we'd like to get married in July. They said, great. I guess been waiting for a long time, right? But her parents says, gee, even if you want to get married, what's the rush? Wait at least a year, like come, keep coming, but let's talk about next year. So I guess then Stella started to come up to Connecticut to visit me, and
You bought a house.
and then in April we went to look for a house. So then then we bought a house, and then
Were you engaged then?
no.
Oh, you were.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I guess we're engaged, right? Yeah, engaged.
Why would you buy a house?
But that was after you had permission from her dad.
No, he never.
He never,
No.
he never
really?
gave us permission. And he wasn't even going to come to our reception.
He didn't want to talk about it. That was it. So we just
We just continued as a,
right.
someday.
So so it's a question of someday. We didn't set a date yet, but bought the house, and then end of July, closed on the house, and
When is this? This is like 78?
79.
79.
1 year after I graduated. So we bought the house. I started working in the house. I ripped out all the carpets and repainted the house and did all that kind of work. So Stella was up helping some, right? And I guess after a while.
Make all the curtains.
No, not then. But I guess after a while, her parents decided that it's going to happen anyway. So, and she was away a lot on the weekends, so they kind of gave in. We got married in October in Washington D.C. Temple, right?
Yeah.
And had your reception in New York City.
That's
The
right.
same day.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was,
don't ever do that again.
Get up! You got up.
No, they won't do it again.
Oh, we had to get up 5 in the morning
Oh,
to
I
go to
remember.
temple
Yeah.
to to be married in Temple, and then
Joe.
we had pictures taken. I think Terry was taking pictures in the Washington grounds around noontime. Then we started driving up to New York City.
How long
And,
is that?
middle of the
How
rush
long of
hour.
a trip
In
is
the middle
that?
of yeah.
How long of a trip is that?
Oh,
In rush hour?
6
6
hours.
hours. And I remember. I remember Elder Durant
Yeah.
was driving.
No.
And he kept driving, and all of a sudden we're in New York City. He says, "Gosh, what is this place?" And he, of course, he was in a farm. He'd never been in New York City, and he's just driving among these taxi cabs. And after a while, he got the hang of it. He was driving. He was running those taxis up.
It was having fun.
Yeah, he got to use it real quick. But we got to the Steak Center in Manhattan, and we thought, at least I thought, that things were going to be set up.
We walked in, it was nothing.
We
were
walked in, it
supposed
was
to-
empty the whole
Nothing
place.
was done at all.
You've been to New York?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steak Center.
Steak Center.
On
Is
Broadway.
it
On
right?
Broadway.
Is it right
We left
across from
inside.
Juliet? That one?
Lincoln Center.
You left me and
Yeah,
went to
Lincoln
New
Center.
York. and
Is that one that was?
Yeah,
Michelle
I
and
said-
Andrew.
You left me?
Take us with you.
Yeah.
To New York.
Not that I remember.
That was a very quick trip.
I was just born. 4 days, 5 days, something like that.
But yeah, nothing was set up yet. And I remember
Mom and I, we got going. We started putting
We
tables
went all
Same
around
kind
and
of
looked,
stuff.
found some
Another
paper.
oh,
put on the table.
Table, I don't know.
They had food. They had food all organized, all right. But the decoration of the hall was nothing was done.
Walking, we had to set up a table.
Empty. No place. We had to set up quickly.
as I remember, I never saw the food. I don't remember what food it was at all.
Cake, it was Joe cake.
It was nice
Yeah.
food. Yeah, I remember the food.
I
don't think I ate it all.
You remember Bishop Fletcher was there?
What?
Nkahe was there?
Yeah,
Oh, at the
Durant was
temple.
there.
Oh,
I don't know about the
At the
reception.
reception.
But then this wasn't the end. I mean, when the thing ended, the reception ended, then we got in the car and drove to Connecticut. And my roommate,
Ran out of gas.
we were driving with him. He had a Volkswagen, and he ran out of gas at 1 o'clock in the morning in New York City. And we tried to in the Bronx, which is, and I remember going
Which
to
neighborhood?
places to
We
try
were in
to
the
buy
same
gas.
car.
Yeah.
And we went to this one little place and knocked on the window. The guy opened up, looked at us, and slammed it. Like, what are you doing here this time of the night? So I guess we finally did get the gas, and
Got into some.
I think we got to bed about 4 in the morning.
Oh,
So it was like 23 hours later.
And then you had the reception that night.
The following
The next day we had a reception. I had a pounding
day was-
headache.
He dropped us all off.
Excellent.
We all went to his house at
Yeah.
4 in the morning, and they went over to the motel. They
Right.
left and went to the motel.
Yeah. I had you guys and my roommates and everybody in the house.
House.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk to each other. You were mad and you had a headache.
I had a pounding
night.
headache the next day.
you know, if your dad status, your father knew me before you came to Canada, I think it could be very different because I was a French person and your father was a French person, but we never got together because
Well, because he never talked to David. He didn't know who he is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Strange
Who is
Because
guy.
your father was one time working for Hong Kong at the Aberdeen, the marine fish market.
Right.
Yeah, right.
He was accounting there. And I was working on my graduation paper at University of Hong Kong. And I used to go to Aberdeen to collect jellyfish and that sort of thing because I was teaching biology in high school, I needed some kind of material from Aberdeen. If I knew that, if he knew that, well, the situation would be very different.
You
Yeah.
don't know who David is.
Yeah.
His background.
Especially, come and borrow money for me to take my daughter out.
Well, actually, he's a real good guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't mind that. He does it all the
I,
time.
But it's different when it
I
comes
don't
to
blame
your
him.
daughter.
I think it's the
right?
timing. He didn't expect to be so quick.
He just missed Stella. He
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
He has a hard time giving up his
Right.
7
Can I
daughters.
ask
Any
you
of them.
question, Stella?
Any of them. He had a hard time marrying out.
So which one are you?
Fifth.
Fifth. Okay. Number
Do
5.
your parents have a favorite? Like a favorite daughter?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
They have a favorite son.
One
Only
son.
one.
There's only one.
they don't give him up.
No.
Or they try to.
He's still home,
35.
not married.
But they had a hard time with all of them married, right? Being married.
Yeah. Tony, you know with Bob quite well, eh?
Yeah,
Well, we were at your house,
we
stayed over
stayed
there
there for a couple
at
of
least
days.
couple nights.
Nights.
You know what? He always try to persuade me to have yoga. I said too fat, you know. He didn't care about that.
Everyone
They're,
knows.
Suyok is, that crunchy,
I remember
that pork that has a crunchy
they
skin.
cooked us.
Oh yeah, that's the.
That was
Yeah, they're very hospitable.
I'll be quiet.
Always
Yeah.
coming over.
I knew her family when I was in Hong Kong
Why?
too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Gross.
You
It's
did Terry?
fatty.
I didn't know Terry.
I don't know her, but I know her bigger sister.
And Sabella knows Sam and
Yeah.
Lily.
Oh yeah.
回外公
So it's
knows
all
your family
connected.
quite well.
Footrest.
So when I saw her again in New York, she knew who I was, and I knew who she was.
Yeah, eldest.
See, I told you, everyone knows each other.
Same
We're
time.
the
The thing
church.
is, like, so where the church was fairly small then. Yeah, in Hong Kong.
In Brooklyn.
You must have connections
In everything.
in everything.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Clan's turn.
Let's see, it all started in 1997 when
Yeah, it all started in 1997 when I
Yeah,
for my
mission.
mission.
Give me the confession now. Ahead of time.
Actually, I learned lots tonight.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
even you guys you never knew. the
Okay, don't
story.
forget someone is in charge.
Okay, that's right.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
back to you.
Hope you learned something tonight. This is how it all started. And now we're going to have a closing prayer by Nancy.
Father, thank you that we can gather here together for family home evening. Please bless that we'll remember the stories. And please bless that we'll have a safe night tonight. In the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
你呢班後生仔啊，諗到計啊今晚啊，臨時發現呢啲嘢，
That's the best.
佢 try to probe 佢。
I didn't think about it.
No.
I've heard
Yeah, you
They were all together like this.
Alright, self-study before I married.
Or even though I was ready, I just like.
I did that way.
Well, actually,
That's sort of
The funny thing, if
Did you hear all the story? Huh?
you would
Did you hear
Yeah,
all the
those
stories?
stories were great, weren't they?
I know.
Once I got married, though, it kind of died.
That would happen, unfortunately.
Is that what happened?
And with the kids, trying to revive it was impossible. I tried to revive it before it. But up to that point, I was trying to stack the journal. I started when I was like 12 or 15. Yeah, I got journals when I was 14. What?
You start to write, you're going away.
Emily?
Ah, that's interesting.
How we meet.
Someone has to be first.
You're way off.
Still takes a lot of time to我仲有個仔人喺屋企，係好多兩年，個仔嘥成
I'm sorry.
You guys story.
Oh, I see. All of us? And my question?
I mean, it's clearer. It's a sad. Yeah, and you don't want to face it.
Actually, when I moved to
Never said no.
this was a big area because we were.
Everybody. Hey, I'm not giving the score. You kidding? Let me go ahead.
Okay. They go.
No, Jason can.
I'm
never gonna
What are we score?
Tell us what it is about first.
Okay, this is who everybody thinks is going to get married in what order.
Yeah.
Okay. By a landslide.
Clarence first.
By how many?
By how much? By like 14.
He won by 18 points. Well, like adding up all the.
Here, just
What's
give
his
the
score?
numbers
What
and
is his
the
score?
numbers.
What's the raw score?
What is his score? Yeah. Raw score.
Okay.
14.
Clarence
7
is
out of 10.
Well, 7 first place votes.
7.
Out of 10, yeah.
okay. 7 first place votes out of 10 for Clarence, and then next one was Stacy, and she got 6 second place votes
And 1
first place vote, and third is David, who got 4 third place votes and 2 second place votes and 2 first place votes and no second place votes. Fourth is Darren, who got 4 fourth place votes, 4 third place votes, 1 second place vote, and 0 first place votes.
Just give the Ross.
Michelle.
Michelle.
6 last place.
She got 6 last place votes, 2 fourth place votes, 1 third place vote, and 1 second place vote.
So what are the Ross first?
So Ross.
Just read the number, yeah.
Steven? So Clarence got 14, Stacy got 26, David got 32, Darren got 35, and Michelle got 43.
Nancy got 5.
And Nancy got 5.
I did.
Where did Michelle go?
Yeah, so I'm last.
So you came out January.